Welcome to the Canada Post webinar. Today's topic will be how to use the Canada Post marketing tools to get the best response out of your listings and your direct marketing efforts. There's two steps to targeting your unaddressed mail. The first step is actually to define your target area. One of the tools we'll be reviewing today is called the Precision Targeter. We'll walk you through that new free online tool that's available. And some of you have done direct mail before with Canada Post. You might be used to the old mapping system. That's still available, but the Precision Targeter actually gives you more visual insights into where you're targeting. The second step to consider is the express order entry system that's available through the Macdonald Realty intranet website. We'll walk you through the different screenshots that are available there and how that works. Keynote to note here is that if you do want to take advantage of the Macdonald Realty negotiated postage rate with Canada Post, you do need to mail, or you do need to conduct your mail, with the express order entry system, which we'll review in just a moment. Just to give us some background on the different types of mailings, just to make sure we're clear on where we are. There's really three types of mail available through the Canada Post system. One's called what we call letter mail, or the stamp system. It's a personalized letter with no quantity or content limit, and it starts at 61 cents per piece plus taxes. That's your letter to grandma, your birthday cards, and all those sorts of typical mail that we're used to. Address ad mail, that's actually, there's 1,000 piece minimum base there, but the address ad mail is a promotion. It has to be promotional in nature. So if you're looking to do a volume mailer, perhaps you've built a database of loyal clients over the years. You want to send them a holiday wish outside of a calendar, as an example, just a standard postcard wishing them something, or a birthday, or whatever a specific event you might be promoting. There's an opportunity to take advantage of that. There's a 1,000 piece minimum, and that runs at about 40 cents per piece, down from the 61 cents. Unaddressed ad mail, or non-personalized mail, is the one we're typically using in the real estate market. It doesn't have an indicia, doesn't have personalization on it. It's a standard sort of postcard and flyer format that we typically see in our mailboxes. The targeting is done at typically a postal carrier route, which is about 100 to 400 home levels. We can't get any tighter than that for this particular postage rate. And your negotiated price is somewhere in the neighborhood of 11.3 to 10.2 cents per piece. There's some differences based on things like a seasonality discount. There's certain months of the year where we offer a 10% discount on this. Just for point of reference, the published rate is roughly 15 to 16 cents per piece. So there's a considerable savings when using the express order and entry system through the Macdonald Realty website. All right. So first off, we'll start with the Precision Targeter tool. The reason I'm introducing this to you is it's very robust, but it actually gives us some very simple insights into where we might want to target. So we're just going to switch screens over here. So to get there, there's a couple different methods. One is you can start with the Canada Post logo, go over to the Business tab, click on Tools, and then again under Tools, there's a link called Precision Targeter. I already have the session open, so I'll go ahead and open that session. Once you've opened the session, you'll be presented with 4 different options. It's basically a 4-step process in defining your unaddressed targeting. Again, you don't need to use this, but it certainly helps, especially if you're not used to the area or you just want to get a handle on what's going on with a particular opportunity. All right, so 4 steps. First, we describe our mailing. Then we work on defining our demographics if we're interested in that, and I'll talk about that in a moment. You define your delivery area and review your mailing. All right, step 1, describe our mailing. So the first thing to do is define how big your unaddressed mail piece will be. For a point of reference, the standard size, or the maximum size within standard postage rates, is 12 inches by 6 inches. So you can take advantage of a 6 by 9 format research is showing us that a larger piece does get noticed more in the mail. So if you can't afford a few extra pennies per piece to get a larger piece out there, it actually can get you a higher visibility and read rate. Timing-wise, you need to define when you're going to be roughly inducting the mail. The reason being is that on a monthly basis, postal box are updated as houses are built or condos are built and brought online. Just as a point of reference, there's close to 200,000 brand new houses and apartments every year that are brought online in Canada, and we need to service those. So those blocks get updated. We want to make sure that you have the latest and greatest values or numbered counts, so when you're producing a piece, you're not producing excess. Audience, you can actually define what type of delivery you want to be distributed to. So it could be houses only, apartments only, farms only, or all three, and businesses. So for this particular test, we'll just do houses and apartments just to have some fun with this. The last tab on this section is called Budget, where what we do here is define any sort of delivery costs. If you have a limited budget for dollars for postage, you can put the value in there. Do keep in mind that this particular tool, Precision Target, is not linked to your contract rate, so it'll be it'll be more expensive basically through this tool until you actually take it into the EST through the Macdonald Realty website. If you have a budget for total number of pieces, and just so you know what transportation means, transportation means that you're going to be using the Canada Post system for distribution. As an example, if you're printing your piece in Calgary, but you're marketing in Vancouver and inducting with Canada Post in Calgary, you'll be using the Canada Post distribution system. So just keep that and keep those selected, including transportation. That'll add actually 0.8 cents per piece to your mailing costs. All right, next tab. So the next tab is we can actually add demographics. Some clients aren't interested in that. They'll just want to skip this section. What demographics are is these are any number of variables that we can select. These are Census Canada data variables that have been overlaid at a postal code, postal walk level across Canada. So as an example, if we wanted to target well, maybe I should work on a typical example. Some realtors want to target people who have owned. Let's say as this example, we want to target people who have owned a home, but maybe want to upgrade. They might be in a slightly older age group now, and they're looking to, because they're making more money now, they want to actually target, they actually want to, you want to promote an upgraded option to them, for example. And this kind of, the nice thing about using demographics, assuming that the product that you're selling is of relevance to this, is that now you're getting very targeted and much more intentional with your mailings. So rather than perhaps mailing 2,000 pieces into a neighborhood, you can actually get this down to 500, 800, 1,000, 10,000. Or sorry, 1,000, and actually be more refined and get a higher response rate potentially. We're going to use this one as an example. All right. So let's say, for example, we have a we have different options to do the targeting. So if you have an open house as an example, we could actually use drive distance as a criteria. If we have, so drive distance being kilometers. If you have a radius, so 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, that sort of thing, that's also an option that you can look at. Drive time, that takes into account speed limits, stop signs. Buffers, what that means is that you're basically discounting or removing the first 1 or 2 kilometers as an example, if you wish. All right, and municipality. So for example, if you want to target municipality of Red Deer or Winnipeg or Ottawa, those are all options. FSAs, that's the first 3 digits of a postal code, so you can actually consider using that as well. Just so you know, an FSA typically represents 10 to 15,000 homes and apartments. And custom, if you're very intentional about your area, what you know, for example, you don't want to go north of the street, south of this river as an example, you can actually draw it like a Google Map tool. We're going to pick a very simple one. We're just going to do a radius. You can put in the full address of your location, but let's say, for example, we've got a listing here at this particular postal code. And we're just we want to target within 2 kilometers of that area, see what that potential looks like for us based on the demographics that we were going after. So this is in the Calgary market. The system will pop up with a help tool. Great little help instructions of how to navigate, use the tool. I'll walk you through most of those today. So we'll just close that up. All right, so let's come back in the results here are several different results. First of all, we can see that we've got the circled area, which is our 2 kilometer radius around that particular location. And we can zoom in on that and drag it over. So within the immediate area, we can see there's 3,306 houses, 1,155 apartments, so a total of 4,461 pieces. And this is actually somewhat of a business area. I'm familiar with the area, so we don't have a huge match rate, but what you can see here is the postal codes have turned blue, and this is based on a match rate up here that we can see, so blue to red. So the higher the match rate based on the demographics we selected, the redder the walk becomes. And then you could say, well, you know what, that's great, but I can't afford 4,000 pieces. So there's a couple of different ways we can turn these off. One is if we go to the bottom of this table here, click this up here, I'm just going to collapse these here. You can see that every single postal walk that is identified has been listed here in the system, on this table, sorry. And just to explain this is the route information here. Number of houses, 37. 54% of our route meet our criteria of owner occupied, 19% meet our criteria of age, and 54% meet our criteria of income. That's giving us an average rate of 43%. And we can scroll down, we can see the different match rates. So you can simply turn off certain walks if you'd like, that don't feel, just to cut down on budget. And the other option to do is if you visually know what you're doing, you can hit this routes map and you can basically scroll over this. Comes up with a letter carrier walk information and you can basically click and turn it off. All right, so let's assume that we were happy with what we selected. Now the next step is to review our mailing. As you can see, actually, just so you note, here this is a live total that goes on. It's updated, as we adjust routes. So we're down now from the original 4,400 down to 2,100, and our published postage rate would be $347. So what you want to do next is hit Review Mailing. You can see what we're dealing with from a cost perspective. Again, this cost is not the Macdonald Realty negotiated rate. This is the published rate, but at least it gives a perspective. If you take 15% off this, you have a pretty good idea of what you're dealing with. This section here, Download Report, is probably the key report for you. What you want to do is, once you've finished your marketing plan, is download this report. It'll actually save it to your hard drive as a PDF format, including the map. The benefit of this is several. One is if you're doing a plan for a client and you want to demonstrate that you've actually done the mailing or what your plan was, you can actually print this out with the map and with all the data and accounts and budgets and show your client, hey, this is what we did. Alternatively, if you're into developments or want to know what your previous plan was, again, you can download this as well. Another little tip to note is you can actually sign in to Canada Post website here, and you can actually save any of these reports to the system here. and you can log in within 13 months, and then the actual report will be right there in the system, and you can basically update that, get the latest counts. So maybe you're just in the process of negotiating a development or a small complex. You just want to see what that budget would be like. You can go ahead and do that. You can save it, and then 2 months later, if you need to log in, you can output that as opposed to trying to rebuild this the whole time, every time, sorry. Okay, we'll leave that there for now, and we'll come back to here. So I'd encourage you to take advantage of this tool. It's on the website canadapost.ca/precision targeter, and it's free and it's open 24/7. Here are the URLs that are available. So it's canadapost.ca/precision targeter, or as I showed you in the navigation, Canada Post website, business tab, tools, precision targeter. All right. So now we've kind of done some planning. That's one of the newer methods of identifying your target area. The next step is what we call express order entry. This tool allows us to sorry, 1 second here. Oh, okay, here we go. This tool allows us to all right. This tool allows you to take advantage of the unaddressed postage rate that's been negotiated with Macdonald Realty across Canada. It's quick and easy. It's on your website, and I'll walk you through the different tools there. And because it's part of our automation process, actually there's a 1% discount when the documents are generated through the system as well. All right, so first of all, you want to go to the Macdonald Realty website and log in using your username and password that you've been given. Second of all, you'll come to the home page, and it looks something like this. Then on the home page, you'll want to click down on Programs and Markets, and there's a Canada Post unaddressed ad mail link. Click on that link, and that will take you to this particular page, which has an icon to create your order. All right. So you've clicked through. It actually has a private link back to the Canada Post website, which has embedded all the Macdonald Realty details and login information and contract information, sorry. And then you can go ahead and start filling this in. It's a 4-step process. So step 1 is to use the maps that we just created. So one is we can actually use online maps or postal code lookup if you'd like, if you're familiar with these. If you just want to target an immediate area of the neighborhood, you could do a postal code lookup as an example. So put in the postal code, it'll identify the postal walk that covers that postal code. If you want to do something a little bit larger, like I showed you in Precision Targeter, you just hold on to that file, and we'll introduce that in the next page. So don't forget to title your piece. Drop-off date when you plan to drop out of Canada Post, any other reference numbers you want. Consumer's choice, you will be using that. Just so you know, Canadians have the option of opting out of unaddressed mail. About 3 to 5% of the Canadian population have opted out. So this way, the numbers that we provide you are those actual net numbers. You're not producing pieces that won't be delivered. All right, contact name, phone number, and then on to next steps. So your next step here is you start building your mail plan. You can select your FSAs, add in your letter carrier walks. It's fairly interactive. If you've done the Precision Targeter, you can print that report off, as I was showing you, and you can actually simply input these in here and select them as well. The system, based on the area that you're looking to target or the area that you live in, you have the option of actually identifying which postal station to drop off your mail in when you're ready to go. Mail preparation will guide you through the process of bundling. Basically, we need the pieces, unaddressed pieces, bundled in 100 or 200s, typically wrapped with an elastic band. And then here's where to drop off your mailing information, which is linked to delivery details. All right. Next step, actually the final calculation here is your summary. And what we'll see here is it'll have a summary of all the information that you just put in. So that includes your postal walks, your final total, budget total, and now this particular rate here would be reflective of the Macdonald Realty negotiated contract rate. Next step is just input your Visa card, or a credit card, I should say, and go ahead and pay that, and then you're on the way. Okay, next step, you have a summary with an order number, so you have that confirmation, and make sure you keep these numbers. The next steps is just basically to print your statements. There's two statements you need to print. One is called the statement of mailing, and one's called container labels. So if you've got multiple containers, you want to do that. They look something like this. This is a statement of mailing. It's basically just like an invoice. It's a summary of the number of pieces that you've identified you're going to be inducting, what the total price is, and your budget there. These are container labels. These would be attached to any of the boxes that you would be providing along with the flyers bundled in 100s. Right. And finally, the last, just to kind of recap to get you started here. First of all, define your target area. Use a tool like Precision Targeter or some of the online maps if you're familiar with it. And make sure that you use the EOE, or the Express Order Entry System, on the Macdonald Realty intranet website in order to take advantage of the postage rates, the negotiated postage rates for Macdonald Realty. But just as a marketer, I want to remind you of a couple key questions you need to keep in mind. When you're doing mail marketing, how is it integrating with the rest of your marketing? How does it complement your brand? What sort of frequency are you looking at? Who you're targeting. Doing sporadic stuff, I'll be honest with you, is kind of hit and miss. We're finding that realtors that are consistent with their marketing efforts, and that includes their print newspapers, their signage, their unaddressed mail, their address ad mail communications. They're building a personal brand for the long haul on this stuff. So it definitely pays off in the long run, is what we're seeing, and seeing the success of that. Keep in mind, how are you tracking your response? I know it's a very difficult one to know, because maybe you did a direct mail piece and they saw your sign, and they saw your bus shelter, and then they saw your print ad, and then they finally call you. But try as best you can to figure out how they got triggered to respond to you. Also test different concepts. Whether it's an open house, whether it's a promotional offer, something to get people to identify that they're interested in selling or buying. And just start using the mail today to raise your market profile. Mail is still one of the highest read mediums. Close to 90% of Canadians will actually read their mail on a daily basis, and we have a high delivery rate. We cover every Canadian household in Canada. Finally, if you have any questions about what we just reviewed, please contact our Canada Post help desk at 1-866-757-5480. I know there's more additional resources on the Macdonald Realty website, so please take advantage of those as well. Thank you very much for your time.